Baby Yoda action going on there with the coffee today. Hello everyone! I'm very excited. It's another new pen day. I recently purchased from Amazon some fairly inexpensive fountain pens. Jinhao is a Chinese brand that makes fountain pens that, well, you know, with some of these Chinese brands, they look startlingly similar to other brands. Anyway, I ordered recently from Amazon a pen, the Jinhao 82 resin fountain pen in extra fine and fine. It came in a 2-pack. It was a twofer. And these pens are very reasonably priced. I own a couple of different Jinhaos. I have a Jinhao Shark, which is just fun. I have a stainless steel one and a matte black. They're thin pens and very heavy. And then I've got a couple of the beefier ones. Anyway, they're very reasonably priced. I got 2 of these for between $13 and $14 on Amazon, which is crazy cheap. So let's unbox these things and take them for a test drive. Again, with the scary box knife. I gotta change the blade. This is really not getting the job done anymore. Okay, what have we got here? Chook. New pen day is so exciting for me. I love it. And it doesn't matter. I get almost just as excited for a pen that's like $6 as I do for one that's $600. I'm a cheap date. What can I say? I gotta admit that they packaged these things like they were a $600 pen. Oh, come on now. This is this is challenging. This should register as exercise on my smartwatch. Ooh. Would you look at that? Okay. I'm into it. Let's get a glimpse of these outside of the plastic. Hey, that's pretty. Light. Very, 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 very light, being resin. And you can see around the end of the pen cap, it says Jinhao. This one is the extra fine. And these didn't come with anything. I don't believe they came with it. Oh, well, you look at that. I'm wrong. It came with a converter. No cartridges. But that converter, I prefer a converter anyway to cartridges unless I'm traveling. Screws on very nicely. Let's see how it posts. How this thing posts on the end. Didn't have to put it on there. Holds on pretty good. Didn't have to really force it on there. Looks nice. Looks nice in the hand. Definitely back weights that by quite a bit. Having that posted, but since the whole pen in itself is very light, it's not detrimental at all. And I'm gonna assume they look exactly the same. Now comes the tough part, picking an ink. Let's see, which one should I do? I think the last pen that I tested was an extra fine, so let's do the fine instead of the extra fine this time.
A few moments later.
Okay, well, I have inked up the fine Jinhao 82 resin fountain pen. Just in case I didn't say earlier, this barrel is opaque. You cannot see the ink levels. You can't see anything. It is an opaque jet black throughout. I inked this with red because this pen to me screams, I need to be filled with red ink. My pens don't actually talk to me, but you understand what I'm saying. If my pens are talking to me, I have some big problems that I need to address. So I inked this with a very brilliant red called Matador. It's a diamine ink. This is what the swatch looks like. It doesn't have any particular characteristics like shading, sheening, or shimmer to it. It is just a straight up red, intense red ink. Let's use our trusty Hobonichi Tomoe River paper for a test. It is very reluctant to write. This might be why these are so cheap. Press that nib down, not too hard, because it is definitely not flexible at all. That must be a stainless steel nib. I don't remember. I'm sure it is, because otherwise it wouldn't be cost effective. Let's see if we can force a little bit of ink through there. Let's give this another go. Still very, very reluctant. Okay, well, and it's not really mattering. I'm pressing pretty hard. Generally do not want to shake a fountain pen. That can lead to some ink disasters. Well, it's there. It's just not flowing all the way to the end of the nib. Well, that's disappointing. It's definitely there. I am just barely touching that feed, and it is just practically hemorrhaging that ink. Hemorrhaging's a good word for it because it is that weird red color.
More moments later.
Okay, folks, well, that was a real dud. Super disappointing. That nib, I fiddled with it and fiddled with it and fiddled with it, and the nib on the fine would not work. The ink would not flow. I could even see it get to a certain point behind the feed, and it would not continue down to the point of the nib of the pen. That was really upsetting. What the hell? I mean, I know it's a cheap pen and expectations are low, but still, let's try this one. This is the extra fine. And it too seems to be having some trouble getting started for whatever reason. Yeah, the ink's there. Let's give it a little bit more breathing room. It's there. The ink is there. I just do not understand why it's not going to flow. Is it the feed? What is it? There it is. There's the ink. I'm trying to coax it to the end of the nib just to see if I can get it flowing somehow. This is a big fucking mess.
One eternity later.
Okay, I think it's flowing on its own now, but let's see. Turn the page. I finally got this one to work. It took an act of God to get this thing finally functioning. So I am going to just ask for trouble by popping this converter out and putting it back into the other nib and see if I can get that one working with a similar technique. gosh. Oh my gosh, it looks like I've been in the wars. Look at that. What a mess. Huh. This is my last shot. Hello, Boobus. Hi, baby. Now go on. Go lay down on your bed. Do you need to go outside? Do you need to go outside? Oh, go on now. Go on. Ooh. This has been a cluster from the get-go with this pen. I'm really annoyed. I mean, I only have a right to be $14 worth annoyed, or half of so $7 worth of annoyance in this pen. But considering I'm really super annoyed with the way this turned out. But what you see is what you get here on this channel. I told you it was 100% real. This is the real mess of this situation with this fountain pen, which I am beginning to, frankly, I'm beginning to hate it a little bit. Just a little bit because of the mess. Look at me. Look at me. Look at that. Oh, it's so, and look at all this. Look at all this. Good God, it looks like I'm bleeding out over here. This looks like a crime scene. So I filled this one with Red Dragon. That I do know. What was in the other one? Could be Matador, could be Red Dragon. I don't know. But here's the swatch on the Red Dragon. It's a very pretty deep red ink, as you can tell from my fingers. Now let's see if this one continues to write. This is again that very troublesome fine nib from the beginning. Well, I'm not sure what to tell you guys. The extra fine wrote almost right away. It took a little bit of finagling, a little bit of coaxing to get that to start, but once it started, it was fine. This one, the fine nib, once I got it started, the writing experience was pretty good. But man, that's annoying how much I had to work with this thing to get it to start writing. But again, what can you expect from a less than $7 pen? I mean, it was 2 for $13 and change. I would recommend it with reservations. Let's just put it that way. I don't think it was the ink that I was using, because I used 2 different kinds of red, both diamine inks. So, and neither one of them had anything in them that would have clogged the nib and caused it to be so reluctant to write. I feel like it writes truly like an extra fine and a fine, comparable to the Japanese pens. I'm not sure what to tell you. If you like the look of it, you're not going to be out much money if you decide, or if it decides not to work for you. If you decide it's not for you, there's not a lot of expense involved, which is good, because I was about to throw this one across the room. Anyway, so that was an experience. Not necessarily a good one from the get-go. But I may go back to this and give this another shot later just to see if it will continue to write. I have some doubts about it. Let's just put it that way. The Genhao 82 resin fountain pen in fine and extra fine. Thank you guys. See you next time. Keep writing.